Suspended him for the one game for conduct detrimental to the team. That's what we know. We know he's been removed from practice. We know he won't play in the season opener. Beyond that, it's anyone's guess. New on SportsCenter, Doc Rivers made the decision. Here's why.
My job as a coach is to keep trying to get guys to buy in, to be in. And unfortunately, this is tougher, this situation. But that's my job. And so I'm not going to stop my job.
Did he explain anything?
We've had conversation. We had a good conversation today. That's not to be shared. You know, that's between Ben and I.
But Doc, at what point do you say?
There's no point. Like, I'm not going to project out to in 2 weeks we're going to, you know, we're not doing that, Keith.
It's not projecting out, but it's kind of like common sense. Like after a while, when a guy is disengaged, he doesn't want to be here.
You keep doing your job.
Want to impact your team.
Well, hopefully it doesn't. The team's in a good place right now. Again, Keith, I got to focus on our team, not what could happen. I got to focus on what's happening now.
But is that focusing on
right now?
Taking the guy out of practice?
Yeah, so right now I'm telling you, our team is focused. That's all I can do. I can't tell you if they're going to be focused in 3 weeks or not. You know what I'm saying? Right now, that group, that's a focused basketball team.
So if you're in a good place and focused right now, why bring him back?
Because he's a good player. He can help us. And so, listen, the one thing I know about players, our players will welcome anyone back in that wants to be in. I also know that players will not welcome anyone that doesn't want to be in. And so when that time comes, I guarantee you it won't be a hard thing to do.
All right, that's Doc Rivers. Think about it. This all began, as you look at the timeline, it began when the Sixers lost to the Hawks in the conference semis. Simmons wound up not reporting to camp in September. At the beginning of October, team withheld over $8 million from him. 10 days later, Simmons unexpectedly showing up in Philly. And again, as of today, he's been suspended one game for conduct detrimental to the team. As you heard, Doc Rivers basically kicking him out of practice today for being a distraction, among other things. Let's welcome in our NBA analyst, Tim Legler, again. And before I ask you about, what's next for them, what they should do, I want to take you back because something you were hot on last hour. When you look at who's in charge here in Philadelphia, you have Elton Brand, the GM, you have Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations, and of course, Doc Rivers, the head coach. What happened that you think they should have done differently this summer? Is it as simple as give him what he wants and get him out of here?
No, I think, look, what it comes down to is this. What Doc Rivers witnessed at the end of the year and what happened in that Atlanta series, what Joel Embiid witnessed, what Daryl Morey witnessed, what their entire fan base witnessed, the media in that market, everybody witnessed, was a guy that has, to me, a confidence issue that is going to preclude him from really being that guy that can help you get over the hump. It should have been obvious to everyone. And Ben Simmons, I think, understood it as well. He was exposed to that group of people, and he knew, I can't go back and play in that market. I need a fresh start somewhere else. Now, look, that's not going to do it for Ben Simmons necessarily, because I think he also needs a change of position. He needs an elite-level point guard to play next to him that can take some of that pressure off of him to be a scorer from that spot. Obviously, defensively, he has great value he can bring to teams. So he still has things that have to be worked out, even in a new destination. But it was obvious, not only to the people watching it, it was obvious to Ben Simmons that he couldn't play there anymore. And that is what he was trying to articulate to the Sixers organization. He also, I guess, was offended that Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid had some negative and honest comments right after that game ended. And that ruffled his feathers, hurt his feelings. He didn't want to be laid bare like that by his teammates and coaching staff. So it led to this. And Ben knew it. He couldn't come back. And he tried to tell him. And the Sixers should have listened to him. And that doesn't mean you just take the first deal offered to you. But I think there were deals that were offered that were going to be worthwhile for the Sixers to explore. I just think they overvalued him in terms of what they were going to get back. And they held on to him as long as they could. They allowed him to come back to camp. And they allowed him the first couple of days of practice to go through the motions, have bad body language, and really hurt a team's energy level when you're preparing to start a season with great optimism. You can't have it in the gym, and that's the boiling point that they reached today. And now here we are, and who knows where it goes from here. But Doc Rivers did the right thing today. It just never should have been in this situation. You shouldn't have had that guy come back, because even Ben Simmons knew he couldn't play in
Yep.
Philadelphia again the way that his season ended in that Atlanta series.
And frankly, Tim, even before the season in that Atlanta series, I mean, the last couple of years, it's been slowly a slow burn building up to this point, and now the Sixers seem to have no leverage in the situation with Ben Simmons. Tim, more to come from you in a little bit. Matt?
Yeah, more to come. Star Ben Simmons kicked out of practice today by Coach Doc Rivers. That according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, who is standing by with us. We'll get with him in a minute. Doc Rivers, head coach Sixers, has just told the media, I thought he was a distraction today. I didn't think he wanted to do what everyone else was doing. That was from our Tim Bontemps, who tweeted that quote on Twitter. Let's hear from Joel Embiid, new on SportsCenter.
Try to lead, the guys that we have here, and I'm sure they feel the same way because, our chemistry has been excellent despite, everything that's been happening the last few months. So yeah, like I said, I don't really care.
So,
But
so
so
are
are
you
you
saying
are you
that
scared
you
that-
don't want him to? You don't feel he wants to be here? You said.
I don't know. He got suspended for his conduct, so I'll let you guys read into that. But I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on, honestly. I just I'm excited to play some games. I'm excied to go out and compete against other guys and, win some games.
Are you concerned there's going to be a distraction, though? Or is it already a distraction?
I just say, since, the past few days, felt like, nothing really happened. We were just focused on, the guys, that are playing, that are practicing, doing our thing, having fun with each other, playing, competing with each other, talking with each other, being part of it. He hasn't bothered us at all.
In the days he was here, what was he a loner?
I just said I don't care. That's his problem. I'm only focused on what we've been doing, and then as a team we gonna be fine. We gonna, like I said, we love playing with each other. You can see in practice the way we move the ball, we talk to each other. So yeah.
Have you guys talked to him?
Well, I'm too honest. I answer that question no.
Do you think you'll be able to get to a point where you'll be able to have a conversation with him?
I don't mind. I'm trying to win, and to win, you gotta have that relationship with your teammates. I do have that relationship with all my teammates, but at the end of the day, our job is not to babysit somebody. We get paid to produce on the court, go out, play hard, win some games. That's all we get paid for. We don't get paid to come out here and try to babysit somebody. And so that's not our job. And I'm sure my teammates feel that way. So we really focus on just winning and playing as a team. The main thing for us is to have fun, and I think we're gonna have that a lot this year.
Joel,
Two more, guys.
You said you felt he was disrespecting the team. Do you feel he is still disrespecting the team by what happened today?
Like I said, I'm done talking about. That's not my job. That's those guys, front office.
Your teammate. He was teammate.
Well, you can see, you can look into it. Like I said, he just got suspended. His attitude based on whatever has been reported. I'll let you guys read into that. I have nothing to say about the matter. It is not my problem. I get paid to, deliver, and that's to win games, and obviously the ultimate goal is to win a championship. And like I always say, I can't do it alone. I need these guys, and the guys that are here are willing to help me, and I'm willing to help them, and we're gonna continue to grow together.
Is there any part of you that wants to try to talk some sense into him? Is there any part of you that wants to try to talk some sense into him and kind of?
All right, NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski joining us now. That's Joel Embiid moments ago, just after Sixers practice, shoot-around day of game. All right, so we'll get to the Embiid stuff in a minute. But for those of us who are just joining the show, walk us through and catch us up on what happened today.
Matt, I didn't hear your question. Can you repeat it for me?
Yeah, walk us through what happened today at Sixers practice for people that are just joining us.
Yeah, I was told very early in the Sixers practice today, that is, they were advancing, with what the stages of a practice were, that essentially Ben Simmons decided that he wasn't going to participate anymore. And Doc Rivers threw him out of practice. The team suspended him shortly after. The way it was described to me was that all 30 coaches in the NBA would have thrown Ben Simmons out of practice today. But Matt, this has been a consistent theme since he's returned over a week ago. He started when he came back. He had to take COVID tests a series of COVID tests before he could rejoin the rest of his teammates. But he was able to go work out and practice. He didn't do much of that. And his engagement, I think physically and also mentally, has been really limited. And it certainly has raised the question of whether internally in Philadelphia, did Ben Simmons come back to report to camp to play or just be here? And I think you're starting to get your answer that this does not appear to be a player that's ramping up to return to NBA games. He's suspended for their opener on Wednesday night. Doc Rivers talked about possibly having him back at practice on Thursday, but this is a nightmare scenario for the Sixers and for the NBA right now.
Yeah, it's opening night. We should be celebrating the return of basketball instead we're dealing with this garbage in Philadelphia with Ben Simmons. I do want to ask you this because Tim Legler alluded to the fact that perhaps Ben Simmons started doing the accounting and the money of how much he was standing to miss if he was missing any preseason games and practices, and this was a financial move for Ben Simmons only. You had just mentioned a second ago people within the organization started to get the sense that this guy didn't come back to play. He came back to save some money. Now what for the Sixers, especially after what happened today?
Yeah, and I think that these kinds of episodes, some of his money and what is owed him, and what is sort of in the standard NBA contract for rendering services will be in question. But Philadelphia wanted Ben Simmons back because they hoped that they could, start to sell him again on being a part of this team, at least until they could find a trade. And that has not been the case so far. All along they thought, listen, we're a better team with Ben Simmons than without, but not like this. And you saw and heard what Joel Embiid said after practice today. Essentially, we are not here to babysit. And I think they had a good training camp. They had a good spirit about that team without Ben Simmons. But if he's not engaged to play, it doesn't matter how talented he is. It's going to become, I think, more apparent at some point that it's going to be hard to have him around the team if this is going to be his mode of operation. But it certainly complicates trade talks around the league. It complicates Philly's ability to go out and find a deal. They were nowhere near a trade for him. They wanted him to play. They wanted him to honor the contract. And so far, that's not happening in Philadelphia, Matt.
This is just toxic right now for the Sixers. You also heard Embiid say he admitted that he hadn't talked to Ben Simmons. We are going to hear from Doc Rivers coming up on SportsCenter.